So blood for the Blood Queen. This is Garuda, our newest Warframe into the game. She is of course the gore based Warframe, a frame that right now in the community you either like or you don't, which is fine. Different strokes for different folks. Now I do think that she needs some fixes and I will go over those at the end of this video, but before I share my thoughts on her and how I've been playing with my Garuda, let's quickly go over where to get her in case you don't know and the basics of her abilities. Now first off, you can get her blueprint by finishing the Vox Solaris introductory quests in Fortuna. Then you will need to run bounties out on Orvalis in order to get her chassis, her system and her helmet blueprints. Now the basics of her abilities are pretty simple. Her passive is called Death's Gate. This is where the lower her health is, the more damage that she will deal. And this works pretty well with her bloodletting ability, where she halves her health in order to gain energy back. Now her first ability is called Dread Mirror. This is where Garuda will pounce on an enemy, dealing minor damage to them, and it then creates a frontal shield that absorbs incoming damage. She also turns 10% of that enemy's health into a blood orb that hovers above that shield, and this scales with enemy level and of course power strength as well. So any damage that your shield then takes will be absorbed into that blood orb that hovers above it. You can then charge the ability a second time around at the cost of energy a second, and you will throw that blood orb which will explode, dealing impact damage in a large radius. So it's like antimatter drop, kind of. So you need to take damage in order to deal damage, which can be pretty slow. You could just as easily shoot those enemies or use your melee weapon instead, but the shield can be a very nice way to add a little bit of survivability onto Garuda once you're facing the right direction, because if enemies get behind you then chances are you could be dead. Now her second ability is Blood Altar. Garuda will impale an enemy and siphon the health off that enemy for herself or teammates. You will gain 25% of your health back at the cost of 1% of that impaled target. Now that 25% will scale with power strength as well. Her third ability is called Bloodletting. Like I said, this will half your health and refund energy. More efficiency on your build means more energy refunded. This ability combined with her passive of dealing more damage the lower your health is, and of course that Blood Altar as well, is probably my favourite thing about Garuda right now. She has got a lot of self-sustain, so a constant supply of energy, also while healing yourself right back up, and having that bonus damage in between when your health is a little bit low. So you can have a maximum of 3 altars up at any given time, although Day 1, when the update first hit, my Garuda was able to have an infinite amount of those altars, which was incredible, but apparently that has been patched. Now her final ability is called Seeking Talons. Garuda will cast a large, expanding targeted area. It's the red circle that you see growing on your screen. This then sends her bone blades towards every enemy caught in that area, which will stun them, which is really nice. It deals damage over time to those as well, which at lower levels will mean you'll pretty much kill anything in your path, but at higher levels not so much so. More importantly, it also marks those enemies. You will see the red symbol above their heads, and marked enemies have a 50% chance to take a bleed proc from all incoming damage, including your weapons. If you have 201% power strength on your Garuda, this will bump that 50% chance for a bleed proc up to 100% and make everything that hits those targets cause a bleed. Now here's the thing, this is not a nuking ability, it's more a universal hunter munitions. In this footage I'm using a kit gun that is pure impact based and deals no slash damage whatsoever, but I'm getting slash procs in their thousands. If I use my Rubico Prime, which hits a lot harder, then those slash procs can one-shot an enemy. Area of effect weapons will deal a lot more damage as well because of that bonus slash procs that you will be putting on those enemies. Or if you're using a spin to win melee as well, chances are you could one-shot them as well. Now I know some players are talking about Garuda being a nuking Warframe by combining her 1 and her 4, which does work incredibly well, but both of those animations are incredibly slow right now, which makes her feel a little bit clunky. So that's not the kind of build that I wanted to go for, and it's definitely not the kind of playstyle that I wanted to go for either. So again, different strokes for different folks. Natural talent I feel is needed in order to speed up the animation of those Seeking Talons, her ultimate ability, because if you don't, you could get killed while casting it if you don't have that shield up. So for me, I see Garuda more as a kind of self-sustaining support Warframe. Now when I use her, I of course will pounce on an enemy, gain that shield, cast my blood altar, and I will have my health if I need the energy or if I need that damage boost. Casting Seeking Talons will then give me those slash procs to wipe out large groups of enemies, or if I need to, I will cast the orb from that blood shield in order to get a large area of effect explosion, and then it will basically rinse and repeat. If enemies are higher level, I will get a second altar up, or maybe a third. If I start taking damage from the sides or from the back where my shield isn't protecting me, then I will basically pounce away in order to regain that shield and reposition myself at the same time. Now, the bad things about Garuda, because there are a few, and I know a lot of you have been voicing them, which is perfect because DE needs to hear in order to alter her accordingly. Her first ability, the pounce for it, the cast time is too long. It can bug you out, it can get you stuck in walls, fall under the map, port you across the map, and it deals pretty terrible damage as well. Now the shield is nice, but you will need to be really aware of your positioning at higher levels. If something that hits you really hard like a nullifier, heavy gun or bombard or something like that gets behind you, then chances are you're dead. It's as simple as that. Her number 2 and her number 3 ability, the altars and the bloodletting, I feel are fine. They work incredibly well together. And her Seeking Talons, again, the animation for that is way too slow. Even with natural talent, it feels a little bit cumbersome. You need your shield up when you're casting it at higher levels, because if you don't, chances are while you're stuck in that animation you could get shot as well and put down. Now if they tweak her a bit, she could be an incredible Warframe, but we gotta wait and see exactly what way they approach her to change things, or if they bother at all. Now I understand not everyone liking Garuda, that's fine. We're not going to love every Warframe that gets added into the game. I don't believe she was ever intended as a nuking Warframe. She's not Mesa. She's also not Valkyr. She's a different Warframe entirely. Now also, when you unequip your melee weapons with Garuda, you get to use those huge fucking talons that she has as well as your melee weapon, and you get to mod them separately as well. Now they do have a really low reach, which is expected from a set of claws, just like the Venka Primes as well. So it's up to you whether you want to run with those talons or bring a different melee weapon instead. Now these are my 2 Garuda builds. Configuration A is my group build, where it's all about duration, range and power strength for larger blood altars for those healing towers. Config B is all about making sure I have that 100% slash proc from the Seeking Talons, and it also gives me a decent amount of survivability from a higher blood altar heal. Now let me know in the comment section below what you guys think of Garuda, how you've been using her, and how you think she needs to be changed or tweaked in order to make her a lot more fun or a lot more playable. Do me a huge favour, hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, or don't if you didn't. Subscribe for more Warframe, and as always, thanks very much for watching.